Chess, nonsense, and analysis. Hi, dear viewer. Here we are once again. So, I have posted the last video was basically about fantasy, and I had a number of requests from some some followers of the channel, because you can either write on the channel or you can email. There is an email address that you will find on the channel, and we'll be able to, to read you and respond to any of your requests or views or wishes and so on. So yeah, so this one particular viewer was saying that, look, they find the idea of fantasy very complicated, a little bit too forward, I mean advanced. So they were saying, look, I mean, could I please stay with a little bit more examples on patterns? And I said, no, I complied, absolutely. I will comply. And I will. So today we're going to look at a game that was played by Nimzowitsch against Marco in 1920. And it involves basically patterns, and which is what you normally will get in the game. So these are sort of the training positions you need. Okay, let's start. So in this position, there are a bunch of patterns because the king is in the center. Now, the king being in the center is always classified as a problem, and indeed it is. If you play somebody who is very skillful, they are going to be able to sniff any pattern and possibilities that are available in the position. So in this position, let's start with the king. Most important pattern, right? King is in the center, but king is in the center is not enough. What else is there? Then we notice one thing: the king has got only one square. It's very important. The king is on e8, and there's no other square the king can move to. So what does it mean? It means that if we could somehow manage to create conditions of a check, then it would be checkmate, right? So the person, or rather the piece checking, should not be the white queen, because the white queen is holding those two squares. So if we find another piece that could check, then that would be game over. So we're sitting there, and then we're thinking, okay, which piece could it be? The king is on a white square, so the bishop comes to mind, right? Bishop taking on f7 is not going to work. We need more support on f7, but black has defended adequately. We can't play knight g5. And anyway, if we waste time, they will most probably play something like 96 and then get out. So we need to find something else. Okay, we will see. Now before we worry ourselves to death and lose on time and waste a lot of precious time, let us rather look at other patterns that could help us. Because, sometimes when you find more than one pattern, they meet each other somewhere, right? You find this pattern, then you say, oh, hey, by the way, this helps me with the other problem I was having, right? And then they work together. So let's do that. So what's the other pattern we see in this position? Maybe you could pause a video here and have a look, and then see, the ones that I will highlight. You do that? Brilliant. Okay. So the most obvious pattern is the bishop. The bishop on b2 is putting pressure on the pawn on e5. And luckily for us, let's take away the pattern from the king for now so that we don't confuse ourselves. Luckily for us, the pawn on e5 is also attacked by the knight on f3. Wait a second. So now we see a possibility of a kindred move. Can you see the possibility of this kindred move? So we've got two patterns, so to speak. We've got one, the king has got one square. Two, we've got the X-ray, the bishop, attacking e5, and the knight is already there as well. Any ideas that come to mind? Now, remember, when we're talking about ideas, we're not looking at finding everything. It's just one idea is what you need. You're going step by step, right? That is the key to calculation. Don't try to solve the whole position immediately. So you saw what I did. I looked at the king. And then I saw that, okay, I couldn't find a pattern, a check. Okay, for now, I keep that sort of on the side. I look for another one. So you just step by step, you don't try to solve like that in an instant, because it's not realistic. In a game, it doesn't work like that. Okay. So did you find the next pattern? Okay, good. The next idea, because we've got a pattern on E5, so the next idea is, look, we're looking for the piece that could check the king, the knight. So if we could capture on E5, so now it's an idea. Capture on E5, the queen captures, and we play knight to D5. We are attacking the queen with the bishop, and at the same time, we are trying to get that knight C7 check going. Well, as an idea, but of course, there are many moves that black can play, but let's calculate. So now let's imagine we're in this position, right? During a game. We will not, of course, play knight c5. We're not sure. We need to calculate more. So let's do that. So we will imagine now. The knight is no longer on f3. It captures the pawn on e5. Okay, got that. The queen captures e5. So we imagine the position without the knight, without the pawn, the queen is on e5. Okay. We now play knight to d5. Now, knight d5, the bishop attacks the queen. And the point of knight d5 is that if the queen captures on b2, which move do we play? Yeah, exactly. We play knight to c7, checkmate. So the queen must take guard of the square. So the queen is on e5, the knight is on d5. Well, what move do you think the queen should play? Rather, how many moves are available for the queen? Okay, maybe you can pause the video and look. All right, are you back? Excellent. So 2, right? So knight captures e5, queen captures e5, knight to d5. The queen can move to d6, or the queen can move to b8 to guard c7. Okay, let's start first with the sort of unnatural one. The natural one is queen d6. Let's say queen b8. Now, when the queen moves to b8, I want to go with the queen b8 because as soon as the queen lands on b8, there's a new pattern on the board. Can you figure out the pattern? Maybe stop the video and look. Excellent. The queen has got no squares. So we're trying to trap the queen, right? So we will play. Let's start with this variation. Knight captures e5, queen takes e5, knight d5. If queen b8, we want to attack the queen. So, well, the queen is on a black square, the bishop. Maybe you pause the video now and see if you can see the continuation. All right, did you find it? Brilliant. Yes, it is knight takes e7. The king captures back on e7. We play now bishop a3 check. We introduce the bishop. And if king e8, we play bishop d6 and the queen is caught. Don't need to calculate any further. This is great. So let's go back. So we were saying after knight d5. So queen b8 doesn't work nicely. So what about queen d6? Right? Of course, we would be calculating. I'm making it easier for you, viewer, but if you really want to test yourself, please calculate from here the whole variation, right? Knight is e5, queen e5, knight d5, queen d6, and so on. But okay, let's continue. I mean, you can pause the video, then check it later, right? But so let's rather continue. Knight is e5, queen takes e5, knight d5, queen d6. Right. What is it that we're trying to do? We're trying to get to c7, but the queen is a really powerful stumbling block for us. How can we get rid of this queen? Is the next thought, because we want knight c7. There are two moves: bishop a3 or e5. E5 looks juicy because e5 there's a fork here, but this is where we normally will go wrong, dear viewer. In many cases, when one is playing badly, one just simply plays e5 then, right? And thinks, okay, if the queen moves, I'll take the knight and open the e5. But unfortunately, black has got a very strong resource here. We shouldn't forget, we are sacrificing pieces after all. Black can just play queen takes d5. This is the problem. I mean, if we play bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, look at that. The opponent's got 3 pieces for the queen. That's enough. The opponent will play bishop e6, maybe castle long, or bishop e6. If we stop that knight c7, the knight will come to maybe d7 or g6, castle, or rook d8, and only black can win that position. Because as a rule, if you've got a queen against three pieces, you want to generate some play and you don't want the pieces to coordinate. So excellent. We cannot play e5. So let's try bishop a3 then. So yeah, so black has to play c5, I guess it's the only move. Okay, what do we do now? Any ideas? Yeah, now e5 is available and has availed itself. So we shall play e5. Now there is no queen takes d5 really comfortably. And if okay, so two moves for black, I guess. Black would take on e5, or black plays what? Well, black must defend c7. They cannot do it with on c6 because they go into a pattern, bishop b5. So black would have to play queen back to b8, right? Queen takes e5. I'll let you calculate queen takes e5. What do you find? Yeah, it's quite easy, right? Queen takes e5, we play rook e1, knight e4, rook takes e4, queen takes e4, knight c7, checkmate, isn't it? Correct. So the opponent plays queen to b8. What do we do now? Well, we don't forget again that, you see, that's very important that after the piece moves, don't forget to think about a pattern. Always thinking about patterns. Like, for example, here, before I calculate queen b8, I was thinking about queen c6, and then immediately I'm thinking about a pattern. Because if the queen goes to c6, it's on the same line as the queen and the king. So bishop b5. So, it's important just to think of patterns all the time. So queen goes to b8, and now the queen is hanging, so to speak, not hanging, but cannot move out. So we get the queen with the bishop. So please pause and then see if you can continue. Did you find? Excellent. So it's capturing the bishop, right? So that our bishop captures with check, and then once the king moves, our bishop is able to move to d6. And here we're going to capture the queen and win the game after that. Yeah. So a very nice example of calculation with patterns. And I think what we can take from that is that as soon as a piece is moving, do think about the new pattern on the board. Many cases we lose it because we don't think about the new patterns, and then we tend to miss some moves. All right. Thank you. And please write, like, share, subscribe, but also please do write what you're finding easy to follow, what you think we should focus on, and so on. You can write directly on the messages, or if you don't prefer that, you can always email as well. So yeah, till next time, for now I will say checkmate.